Hi, listeners. This is Anthony here from the Scale Model Podcast. We have a new series that we're going to be doing called the In-Depth Review. What I have here is a package from a customer who I'm going to be doing a commission build for. So it's a Macross model, a rare resin garage kit. I have Stuart with me here behind the camera. Say hi, Stuart.
Hello. I wave too.
Right. So what we're going to be doing is a video series. It's going to be posted on the Scale Model Podcast website for our Patreon supporters. And what I've been asked to do, as well as build the model, of course, is to provide a series of tutorials about building resin model kits. And these are actually transformable kits. So this is going to be very interesting. Obviously, they take a little bit more effort, and we're going to try and demystify the process of building resin model kits for our viewers. Awesome. So this video is going to be our unboxing and a quick discussion about the parts, and there's going to be more videos to follow in the series as well. All right, shall we, Stuart?
Go ahead. Try not to cut your finger open on my video.
Okay.
I'm here for the health and safety.
Yeah. Call the ambulance.
Call the ambulance if he cuts it off.
Okay.
And it looks like Customs already opened this, so we're
Customs had a look. Yeah.
Because, Customs are Gundam fans and Macross fans and all that, too.
Okay.
Probably recognize the awesomeness. All right, so it looks like it's well wrapped.
Yep. This has some packaging. Okay, now here come bits. Now these are very rare kits. These would have been produced, I'm going to guess, in the 90s. So the first subject is a VF19 Excalibur Valkyrie. So the scale I know is 1 to 100, so they're going to be quite small.
Oh, that's tiny, yeah.
Yeah, and that was a common scale for Macross kits. Oh, there's actually 2 kits in here.
Okay.
The second one is the VF19 Nightmare Valkyrie, which is super cool.
Interesting.
And
see, these are the kind that I like, these Valkyries, and especially the aircraft mode.
Yeah, I think you mentioned
the fact that you're saying you can transform them.
Yeah, this is going to be quite interesting.
I keep wanting to say to say that little ditty from another franchise.
Yeah. Okay, let's set aside the Nightmare.
Okay.
For now.
Being obviously in black, you know what the difference is.
That's right. Oh my goodness. So I believe that these have been part started, but they require a lot of work with adding the joints. That's the real trick.
So we're going to zoom in a bit here as he does this.
I'll just get these uncovered and we can have a look at them. Very rare kits. These are the kind of kits that, to be honest with you, I would never actually expect to ever see in my lifetime.
Right.
There were a lot of garage kit manufacturers in Japan and a lot of them were licensed. Studio Half-Eye, Retppu, there's a number of them that were doing more obscure Valkyrie designs. So these would have been designs that came out maybe from a show or very briefly, or maybe from a video game or something of that nature.
I'm just zooming in while you're unpacking the other one here.
Okay.
Showing that. It's in several, well, as I can see what you're saying about the transformable aspect.
Yeah. So what...
Now, would these come... Did someone already paint this, or would it be...
I believe this is partially started, and...
So it would be partially started, okay.
Yeah.
Normally, it would just be like a white resin or whatever.
Yeah, I think the yellow is the original resin part.
Right.
So I know what happened with my customer is that he had an injury and wasn't able to get down to completing such fine detail. So that's why...
It looks good from what I can see.
Yeah. But he did mention these were very sharply...
I'm just going to really zoom in on here. On the front end of the cockpit, and he's got it masked. Yeah, the 19's a nice one. That's one I'd like to build.
Yeah, it's got the swept wing.
Yeah, maybe not quite in this tiny scale. As regular listeners of the podcast know, it looks like I'm going to be moving up to 140.
Yeah.
I don't think 132nd. I don't have any room. Let alone the guys that are building the 124th and bigger.
I've never gotten into 1 to 100 scale Macross, but that is for Macross, that is a very common scale.
And do you notice that seems to be a more common thing out of Japan, because Tamiya has some 1 to 100, like jet fighters.
Yeah.
They've got a whole series of them in that scale. And again, they're very tiny.
Well, I know in Japan, just because I live there and sort of interested in that modeling world, that they're often like people don't have big houses there.
So
They live in
the space, yeah.
They live in
exactly.
very small apartments, very commonly. Like it's very expensive even to own a very modest size house. So the modeling does tend to be on the smaller side. So
Right.
I gotta say these do look really good.
They're well wrapped.
I'm not sure which manufacturer this is. I believe it was the Retppu.
Okay.
So I will find out as we go along. But so
Now you were saying before there was a lot of garage manufacturers and that. You were saying some were licensed, some may have been unofficially not licensed.
Yeah, I'm sure
et cetera.
I'm sure there were some that were unlicensed, but there were a lot of times it was done on the books.
Right.
So
Okay.
they were fully like I know
So
Studio Hi-Fi.
there wasn't like you see in some franchises. There's a real heavy crackdown. Now, who would have owned the back then? Who would have owned the licenses for this?
So Macross has a really interesting history,
Yeah.
and I gotta say I'm kind of getting jumbled in my head, but Tatsunoko I think owns the animation rights, and then and Big West.
Okay.
They were like the two main production companies. So they would have licensed out the model kits to. So like currently, Bandai makes licensed Macross models. Hasegawa makes Macross models, and even Wave does a series of Macross models. And in the 80s, when Macross came out, it was Nitto. So people have probably recognized Nitto, Hasegawa.
Right.
They make
Okay.
other regular real world stuff, I suppose,
Right,
and
right.
Different genre kits, and these are just beautiful. So I will find out who made this one. And I think it looks very crisp.
Looks gorgeous. So do you want to focus on one part at a time, and I'll zoom in as you.
Yeah, let's have a look.
All right. So you're just going to hold it like that.
So I'm gonna have to check. I've got some reference books for the schemes.
Okay. So what is that you're holding in your hand?
That would be the leg. And also would serve as like
right.
This is like one of the burner cans, right?
Okay.
Like the tail.
Right.
So this would kind of sit, I think, like this actually.
All right. I'm catching up with here.
Yeah, and then see the intakes.
Right.
And then so these have some
I
ball
can see
joints.
some moving parts there.
Yeah, so this is going to be a fully transformable kit, and these are very. Oh, there's
Now-
the swing wing, right?
Now, what would they be using? Like, would it be a similar? What are the ones in the Gundam kits they use to make them mobile? Like they have a little ball and socket.
Yes, ball and socket joints came out around in the end of the 80s for
Right.
Bandai.
So is that what this would have, or what would they be having?
Yeah, well, I can see a lot of screws and
Okay, so
hinges.
screws and stuff like that. And we'll take some close-up pictures
Yeah.
as well. I think we'll definitely do that.
So screws and hinges,
Okay.
and so we're starting to get the sort
Starting
of
to see
shape.
what it looks like. Yeah.
And they.
I love the color scheme, I have to admit.
Yeah, and I think this is going to be. We will continue on with that.
That's
so these fit
gorgeous,
into
yeah.
here.
Right, they go in there, right?
Like
Yep.
that, and so there's. So the way it sort of worked, and here's a really interesting story for listeners, is that so the guy who did the mechanical designs, his name is Shoji Kawamori, and he was just a kid when Macross came out, and
I'm just zooming in while you're talking here on the kit.
Yep. So he was, I think, around 20 when he came up. Him and some friends, they formed Studio New, and then Studio New got they're like the production house, right? And they got the backing of a major sort of TV production company for the money to make the show.
Right.
And it was on a shoestring budget. They were banging them out every week. Some of it was some of the animation was farmed out in Korea.
Okay.
And some of it was done by them as they were getting so busy they couldn't
Yep.
keep up.
Yep.
That's why there's certain episodes that are just these masterpieces of animation, and some are like really, really wonky. And you're like,
Were you drunk
whoa.
that day when you did it?
They were done by Sunbow or somewhere in
else,
Korea. Yeah.
All right.
So apparently he went in because marketing, obviously, toys or model kits, that aspect of the business is very key, and especially back then. So he actually made a Valkyrie model kit out of paper that transformed from the fighter mode into the robot mode or Batroid mode, and he showed it to the big wigs at Tatsunoko, and they were like,
And the rest
okay,
is
there's our
history,
toy.
yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So out of paper, right?
On paper, that's amazing.
So the way the airframe kind of worked was that the thrusters became the legs,
Right.
and the head is buried in the chest, and it kind of folded in half, and the cockpit would the pilot would rotate the seat
Pivot
so it'd
in
be
place,
pivot in place inside and have an covered armor.
And
The
this
wings
is
would
where
be
those
back.
of us in the English-speaking world will remember that from BattleTech and
Yeah.
Macross and stuff like that. So yeah.
So I'll have to look also for directions.
That's very good.
So I have some reference.
Cool.
I have some reference material. We're gonna I'll dig that out to get the correct color scheme. And I like kind of where my client was going with this. And he's got a pretty good assembly here.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's gonna be fine. And look at the cockpit. Even the is that a clear canopy? It looks like a clear canopy there.
He's masked it. Let me zoom in there. Yeah, he's masked it.
I'm not sure if he's masked or if it's just a bit of a kind of a hazy.
Yeah, no, looks good. Well, that's awesome. So this makes a great first part.
Yeah.
With the assembly.
Look at that. Even there's gear bays.
Yeah, I'm just zooming in there. Yeah, just hold it. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Cool. All right.
So that concludes. That's our unboxing and some parts discussion there. So what we're going to try and do in our next series, the next video in the series, we're going to look at cleaning up the parts, maybe washing them. And trying to demystify part of the building resin model kits for our viewers.
That's good. Okay. So once again, thank you and be well.